So many crazy Me Too allegations lately with seemingly everybody catching a case, and I thought, you know what, I've seen this story and we might as well talk about this. Give a little bit of a breath of fresh air, a nice palate cleanser. And well, who better to do the subject with than Cindy Crawford? And Cindy Crawford at her peak powers, bro, in her early 20s, not the early 20s, Christ almighty, like, come on now, but makes a very rare comment about her ex Richard Gere. And you know what, he was kind of one of the original Me Too guys, with the plastic tube and the gerbil? Because I remember hearing those jokes way back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. That was always the thing, and that effectively killed off his career. But it's nice, man. It's nice to hear somebody who, his former wife, and shout out Richard Gere for, getting Cindy Crawford. No, well, she's like this, even though that's a terrible freeze frame of her, but when she was this, bruh, what the... It's kind of funny, too, because Richard Gere, also, famously starring in Pretty Woman as well, his ex-wife ended up, doing a really strange-looking Julia Roberts impersonation, but it's just so nice not to have somebody retroactively dump on one of their former partners. Cindy Crawford made very rare comments about her ex-husband, Richard Gere, in the new docuseries, These Supermodels. Yeah, Naomi Campbell's old crazy ass is up there. Definitely would. All of those broads. It's so nice to take a look at old supermodels, even in their current raggedy 50-year-old shape. They're all still in reasonably good condition, like as opposed to whatever cover models would pass for in today's day and age. They look like for all of the four women that are slapped together in this series, you put them all shoulder to shoulder, they would barely end up eking out how much your average Sports Illustrated swimsuit model is today. It's wild stuff. Just a little time capsule, I guess. Maybe I'm being a little nostalgic for times I couldn't even resonate with, let's be honest. In the beginning of your relationship, when you're a young woman, you like baseball. I like baseball. You're really into Tibetan Buddhism. I might be into that. I'll try that, Crawford, 57, said, referring to Gere's practice of the religion. She added, you're willing to kind of mold yourself around whoever you're in love with. W take on relationships. That right there, that's evergreen advice for the young woman locking down. Let's call it what it is. Richard Gere, he was that dude back in the cut when they got hooked up in the early 90s. He was on top of everything. And she was, 22 at the time. So you know what? He did himself good, okay? She got herself a winner, and he got himself one of the baddest bitches on the market. Everybody was a winner in that situation. You know why? Because she knew the role. She knew the game, and she played it perfect. Crawford and the Runaway Bride actor, 74, famously married in Las Vegas in 1991 before announcing their split 3 years later. The supermodel was 22, at the time when she met the actor. And bro, not bad at all. And even still, hey, for being an older gal, not that bad. Not that bad at all. He was older, so it was just like in a different circle and not doing some of those same fashiony things anymore, she said in the docuseries, which also stars, yes, Naomi Campbell, Christy Turlington, and Linda Evangeliste. Listen, I'll keep it a buck with you. I only know Cindy Crawford and Naomi Campbell. I don't know the other two broads, but they're still nice. I'm sure they're wonderful people, but they're supermodels. I don't really know. She did, however, make a red carpet statement when the couple attended the 63rd Academy Awards together in 1991. And I mean, yo, they don't build them like that anymore. Just gotta say. If I'm going to the Oscars, better be a freaking supermodel. You goddamn right. When I showed up in that red dress, I was thinking, wow, fashion is back at the Oscars, she mused. Crawford previously opened up about a short-lived romance on Oprah's Masterclass in 2013. I think of a lot of what happened with Richard when I was 22, and at 22 years old as a young woman, I was kind of still figuring out who I was and what I wanted to be. Well, that was your problem. He was already 37. I see nothing wrong with that age gap right there. That is perfect. So, in some ways, he knew that I was still growing and changing. Yeah, I should have been growing and changing into the perfect wife, and then he would have just ended up, not having a tumultuous life where he would have had to settle for somebody lesser. But that's, hey, you live, you learn, and well, you're still doing better than most of these whores that are out there on the stroll right now. I don't want to hear hear it from him because at 22 you think that you know everything and that you've already formed, and you realize 10 years later, like, yeah, he was totally right. Self-awareness, okay? That's the only thing that you get, okay? Women only mature. Shout out Myron Gaines for this one. Women only mature when they have to start buying their own drinks at the bar. And Cindy Crawford, even though she is Cindy Crawford at the end of the day, she doesn't look like that forever, man. Okay, like they got a picture right there. And do you think Randy Gerber, I have no idea who that fucker is, okay, probably, I don't know, probably a financial analyst or some shit like that, but her being hooked up with Richard Gere during that time made her a better wife for him. So he better go ahead and, send Richard Gere a fucking thank you letter every 6 months, because bruh, his tutelage gave you a better bitch. So like I said, it's so nice. It's so nice that somebody doesn't retroactively go back. Somebody who has a very little play on their life now and doesn't shit on them. You do, in fact, love to see it. But I made a mention of somebody else who's on here. So Oprah's Masterclass. Okay, Oprah in 2013. So Cindy Crawford was actually on the Oprah Winfrey show well before that 2013 appearance. And it was way back in the day, back in the 80s. Okay, even before I was alive. Kind of strange, right? But the supermodel Cindy Crawford calls out Oprah's dismissive behavior towards her as a 20-year-old. Ooh! That was so not okay. Oh, okay. You think we're going to get out unscathed when it comes to, well, this isn't a Me Too allegation in so much as, well, everybody's seen it at the time, kind of thought it was a little sus, and then when prompted about a response for it, and she's like, yeah, it was kind of sus. Apple TV's new 4-part docuseries, The Supermodels, is a juicy look behind the scenes of all of these broads, but you only care about Cindy Crawford, maybe a little bit about Naomi Campbell. Became major cultural icons in the late 80s and early 90s. The series is full of emotional reflection, glorious backstage footage, and a few delicious bits of gossip. For instance, when Cindy Crawford reflects on her early catalog modeling days in Chicago, she makes a point of calling out none other than Oprah Winfrey. I thought she was the queen of Chicago, for treating her like chattel in her first major television interview. Okay, interesting. That's not okay, really, Crawford says, before adding, especially from Oprah. Yeah, somebody who made a big stink about just having this really hard upbringing, and then, probably, well, okay, the old stereotype comes out once again. You have this incredibly attractive white woman, and then, well, you have Oprah, even back in the cut, and it's like, oh, you treated her like shit. Weird for somebody who is now all of a sudden decrying racism all the time. Strange turn of events, huh? The supermodels, we learn that unlike pals Naomi Campbell and Christy Turlington, who were discovered by high fashion photographer Arthur Elgort, Ansel Elgort's, am I supposed to know these people? As cultish teens, Crawford forged a path for herself by doing catalog modeling in the late 90s in Chicago. After Crawford eventually dropped out of college, she found considerable success working with local photographer Victor Shurkabensky, making upwards of $1,000 a day. Wow. By 1986, she and her agent, John Casablancas, Julian do I know these people? You reference them like I should. Were to be guests on the Oprah Winfrey show. Oh, okay. So she had already been making the rounds in Chicago, so... Okay, wasn't exactly an unknown quantity, but again, just a model and all that stuff. As of the morning of September 20th, you could still find the clip on YouTube under the sweet heading, Oprah meets a shy 20-year-old Cindy Crawford. But after Crawford revealed to the supermodels that it had been a very negative memory for her, well, guess what ends up happening? Oprah Winfrey deletes a cringeworthy 1986 Cindy Crawford interview from YouTube after going viral for the wrong reasons. Yeah, buddy. 1986, Crawford was only 20 years old, and her elite modeling agency representative appeared on Oprah when Winfrey immediately commented on her body. Did she always have this body? Just stand up for a moment. Now, this is what I call a body. Okay. Winfrey, who's always been battling those lesbian allegations, really does a lot to dissuade those opinions. Winfrey said when she introduced Crawford, who smiled nervously before standing up and giving the audience a glimpse at her physique. I'm going to take Oprah's side on this one for a second. Okay, let me just pause on this one. Because I don't know. I haven't seen the interview from Cindy Crawford, just saying that this was terrible for me and then start fake crying or anything like that. I'm not alleging that. I'd imagine she was probably prompted about that, famous appearance. I haven't heard of it before, but maybe, different circles. Things are more important to other people. Totally respect that, but just also wondering. Oh, okay, cool. She was asked for a response. She said that, it was kind of weird, and I'm more of a person because of it. Yeah, that's nice, wonderful. And it's also going to be on Apple TV, so they're going to have a certain agenda that they're going to try to push. But Oprah, especially back in the 80s, given the context of that stuff, and you're coming on as a model, not as any sort of intellectual thought leader. She wants you to show off your assets, why you are in all of these photo shoots. And you thought that was weird? Okay, maybe she continues to go on and be weird. At one point in the interview, Winfrey even asked Casablanca, so did you have to groom her? Okay, it immediately gets weird. My criticism still stands, but this is where it starts to get a little sus. Or did she always have this body? This is unbelievable. Thanks for the compliment, but what? Did you have to groom her? It's like, yeah, we sent her into the tire place and they just stuck that little pressure hose in her ass and her tits and went. So yeah, I don't know. Crawford looked back on the uncomfortable interaction on the Apple Plus TV series. It was like chattel or a child, to be seen and not heard. When you look at it through today's eyes, Oprah stand up and show somebody your body. Tell us you're being worthy here. In the moment, I didn't really recognize it, and I was watching it back like, oh my gosh, that's really not okay, especially from Oprah. So yeah, man. Okay, much ado about nothing, really. And I think it's kind of one of those, she was prompted to give a response is like, hey, man, under the current circumstances, I was not, it was not so bad that I wouldn't, reappear there in 2013 with Oprah. So, it wasn't all that bad. And my name got out there because Oprah was the shit back in the cut. So, yeah, it was kind of weird looking back at it, but it wasn't all that bad. So, I think this is just kind of the media trying to be their little shitty media thing. But also, if we can take Oprah down a peg, I think everybody's doing all right off of that. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.